My name is Dejine Edouard, and this is the Uplift with Dej, where we'll be having thought provoking and fun conversations discussing topics such as God's love, His power and authority, family, romance, finances, and culture, just to name a few. The goal here is to make you laugh, cry tears of joy, reflect, but most importantly, uplift and speak life into you. So, since you're here, grab a seat and enjoy. Hey guys, this is the Uplift with Dej, and today I'm going to be having a conversation with my amazing brother. Honestly, if you know me, then you already know him. But for those that do not yet know you, Teddy, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Teddy. I'm Dejine's brother, and I'm the number one fan of Uplift with Dej.
Oh, you so sweet. All right, he's being humble. There's a lot more to him. He's an amazing.
I'm Teddy. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I was born and raised there. I left Brooklyn to go to a program called Teen Challenge. At Teen Challenge, I had a crazy run in with God. And that's where I became a Christian. And after Teen Challenge, I wanted more. So I decided to go to Bible college. And I majored in theology and pastoral leadership. I've been involved with many ministries. I had a podcast called Real Talk with Ted and Chris. A lot of people know that. It was
Really good.
It was a good podcast, but sometimes we do things and we think like that's it, that's what we're supposed to do, when God is really just preparing you for the next step.
Right.
That's what he was doing with that right there. And now I'm involved with a whole bunch of other ministries. I go to a church called Hope Church. I love it. Shout out to Hope Church.
Yeah.
I'm in a ministry called Leaving the Streets Ministry. Me and my brother Jesus, we were both ex-gang members, and now we're in a city who are plagued with gang issues, and now we talk to the kids and let them know that there's a better route than joining gangs. You know what I'm saying? Because it's such a waste of time. And more importantly, we let them know that, that God is the route that they should be taking. You know what I mean? Last year, we were able to help 147, I want to say. If I'm wrong, forgive me, because it might be more. 147 kids get jobs, and we got them off the streets last year. This year, we're like at 130 something. Might be more too. And that's what we do. We just minister to kids. That's my calling. My calling is to minister to kids that grew up like how I did. Because one thing with me is that I speak to kids, and the first thing they tell me is, I had no option. I had to do this. I had to do that. What about the kids who did have an option? And that was me. Like, I didn't grow up like I had to do things. You know how we grew up. Like, we had what we needed.
No. I was on lock.
Oh, yeah, you was on lock. Yeah, you was in the crib all the time.
So we was in the same house, but it was not the same.
Yeah, I had to walk you to school when you was in the 12th grade.
All right.
Mommy was so scared. I was like, Mom, she's 17. Walk her to school and make sure you hold her hand when you cross the street. I'm like, Mommy, she's grown.
You're dragging it now.
But nah, for real though, I chose that. You know what I mean? I chose to do a lot of things that inevitably just led me down a path of just messing up. People just started looking at me in that picture. You know what I'm saying? Teddy the screw up, Teddy the mess up, Teddy he can't get his life together. He's always messing up, So, but they were right though. I couldn't get my life together. It took God to get my life together,
I love that. So I love that you even mentioned how you went from that to this, because it kind of ties into the topic at hand, which is cancel culture. Before we get into the discussion, just a quick break to welcome you into Cancel Culture Academy. I hope you have a good laugh.
Thursday, a part of cancel culture, Trey Reds.
Hey, thank you guys for hiring me. I really think that we could change the world and make the world a better place by getting rid of the sex offenders, domestic abusers, and much more.
Well, anyway, the first person we're canceling is Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick? What Kendrick do?
We've recently found out that Kendrick called a black girl poo-poo head.
Yup.
27 years ago. And we believe that he was making fun of her skin, so he's a colorist.
Wasn't he like 6 years?
Next, we're canceling Cinderella.
Cinderella?
She had to fit into a certain shoe to be called pretty. Sounds like fat shaming to me.
Period.
Next, we're canceling the word slut. You want to call a girl a she sucked off the football team in the bathroom? It's the misogyny for me.
Right.
Next, we're canceling birth certificates. They literally assume genders.
Period.
Next, we are canceling Kevin Hart. I don't know why. I just feel like we haven't messed with him in a while.
Same.
Next, we're canceling rain. It gets us wet against our will. That's called rape. Next, we are canceling straight men. The fact that you aren't gay is homophobic. Like, just be gay. We are canceling jokes. We don't like them. Next.
And in honor of being officially initiated, the rest of the show is canceled. Just kidding. Back to normal programming.
And just like you said, you were pretty much canceled, but God gave you a strong comeback. So, one thing, right, about how we grew up as far as church and our nationality, we are not unfamiliar to the cancel culture at all. Because Haitians,
I think people get it twisted because I think the Haitians they invented the cancel culture.
okay, like, first of all, Haitians will not only cancel you, but they will attach whatever happened to you or whatever you did, whatever your mess up was, they will attach that to you for the rest of your life. Like, your screw up is now your nickname. That's how we describing you.
and they elevate any situation to make it way more serious than what it was.
Yes.
Like, you could have been a kid that was experimenting with cigarettes.
Yes.
And for the rest of your life, you're going to be the kid that smoked crack.
That smoke crack.
For the rest of your life. And then you'd be like, what? Like, then you are like 30-something years old introducing your aunt to your girlfriend. And then she, yeah, did you give me a crack? What? Never smoked crack. What?
Yeah, literally, we are very familiar with the cancel culture, all right? And not just by being Haitian, but growing up in church. And let me not just say church. Let me specify old school church. That's what I'll say. Because
that's another difference between me and you. Like, what? Even though we grew up in the same household, you really grew up in church.
That's true.
I didn't. You know what I mean? But
that is true. So I can more relate to.
I always thank God that I had you and mommy in my life, because I don't even think I ever brought this up to you. One of the reasons that the transition, it wasn't easy, but it was a whole lot more, I want to say easier for me, was watching you make your transition from, you know what I'm saying, after you had your son. And I saw a change in your life. Like, I was like, what the heck? And I didn't even understand what was going on because I wasn't saved. So I didn't even understand what was going on. So, like, I thank God for having Christians. Even I wasn't a Christian. You know what I'm saying? I would go to church with you guys and be there and whatever. But I wasn't a Christian. So I thank God for that experience. So I saw God move when I wasn't even a Christian. I saw him move. I saw changes. I saw deliverance. I saw all of that.
Right.
You know, but I just didn't know what it was.
Personally, on a personal level. And just like you said, you might not could relate to this, but I know you heard stories. Because growing up in an old school church, listen, you mess around and do whatever and you let it get out, first of all, don't ever go to an altar call, because that's revealing your business. And guess what?
No. A Haitian altar call.
All right, you're right. But old school, not even just Haitian. Don't do us like that. Old school churches. That's why I had to specify. You mess around and go to an altar call, you're gonna be the topic of the sermon next week.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
And then, yo, you be listening to rap songs and you gotta figure out, like, sometimes who they dissing.
You know it's somebody.
A Haitian person get on that behind that podium and just
rap. Nothing but subliminal.
L'église c'est pareil pour jouer, non? Et ça fait, ouais, mais même pas, j'en mettais pas talent pour venir à l'église. And here goes a sister sitting right there with patalo on, and you already know who she's talking to.
Bruh, one time I went to a church, and it was an Easter Sunday, right? And obviously, Easter is about Jesus resurrecting, right? Bruh, why the sermon was about someone who went to some hotel and got caught. I'm like, wait, who? And then I'm over here trying to figure out who it might be. I'm like, who it might be? I'm like, and then I had to realize it's Easter. What's going on here? What's happening today? Like, oh, untel yo te keme hotel, kap kite hotel la, et puis maman la papa va kon kote liye, yo passe l'école. I'm like,
what does that have to do with the resurrection? The only thing you're resurrecting is gossip.
Exactly. And so this is why I say it's not unfamiliar to us. But what I've noticed over the past few years, it's becoming like a worldwide thing. It's not just a Haitian thing anymore.
No, it's not.
Just an old school church thing.
Yeah.
It's a worldwide thing. Just simply following the Shade Room or just seeing posts around the internet, you see how quick people
I think even when it comes to the cancel culture, even for those people who claim to be not a part of that culture, I think subconsciously we still cancel things and we don't even know it.
Right.
I was speaking to a friend the other day, and she lives in Florida, and she was raised in a Haitian church, and then she was like, you should like try to find a Haitian church where you at. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. She goes, why not? I was like, yo, because of my experiences. But for me to sit here and judge every Haitian church just because of what that Haitian church did,
right.
I'm subconsciously canceling out every Haitian church.
That is true.
So we do it too without knowing it. You know what I mean?
That is true.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you went there because I was going to go there later, but since we're here, let's stay there. I was going to say, has there ever been a time that you were guilty of canceling, whether it be an organization, whether it be a person, whether it be a place, because of a rumor or because of one person's experience?
Yeah, of course. What does that create? A cycle of canceling each other. So where's the love in that? If we're going to cancel this person, we're going to cancel this person. This person's going to cancel me. And then that person's going to cancel me. And I'm going to cancel that person. It's like, where's the love in this cycle of canceling each other? There's no love there at all.
At all.
And only love can change any situation. We know that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now I'm learning that even though I may feel a certain way about somebody, my ultimate goal is to still show them love.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Of course, we're human. We have to protect our heart. You have to be cautious in everything that you do.
Right.
But at the same time, the ultimate expression that we should react is with love. Just show them love still. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've done it. I've canceled people and not even know until the person was like in my face. And I'm like, dang, I don't want to talk to this person. You know?
I've accidentally canceled people without realizing. So I get it. And it doesn't even have to be someone I know. It could just be like maybe something I saw, maybe what I heard. I remember at one point I was like, I would never date a Haitian man or Caribbean men. I was like, I'd never date Caribbean.
Drop my bottle. I almost spilled myself some water. Never what?
I would never date a Caribbean man or Haitian man because I done heard so many stories. And I was like, I got older, obviously, more mature, and I realized everyone is not the same. You cannot just throw everyone under one umbrella because of someone's mistakes or because of stories that you've heard. That does not mean your experience is going to be the same. Doesn't mean you're about to run into the same person or whatever the case may be. So you're right. We do it without realizing it.
Without realizing.
First of all, being stereotypical, like believing stereotypes and falling into that trap of feeling like, all of these group of people are this way, or all men are dogs, or all women want is what's in your pockets, or whatever. Anytime you categorize someone, you canceling them without realizing, you know, because you throw them into a box. So I love that you mentioned that not only have you been canceled, but you can admit that you've canceled as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's not something I'm like, hey, you're canceled.
Right. You don't
Or I'm
even realize what
canceling that
you're doing.
person.
Mm-hmm.
You just do it subconsciously without even knowing it. You know what I'm saying? Because I think the one thing that leads to people canceling a person or even a culture is deeply rooted bitterness. You know what I'm saying? Towards them. You know what I'm saying? We may hold on to a grudge and we don't even know the grudge is there. Like we'll go to the altar and we'll ask God for forgiveness. God, forgive me for this, forgive me for that. Oh, God, forgive me for what I said to my sister Dejine. Oh, forgive me for that. And then we walk away from the altar thinking that, oh, we're all good, but we still have deeply rooted bitterness.
Do you feel like that's why why we cancel people? You feel like it's because
No. I'm saying that's one of the reasons.
Right.
And then until you see the person, it all arises. Like you don't know. You think you're over something, and then you see the person face to face or physically, or they're in your vicinity, and then you're like, yeah, I don't like that person. I'm gonna cancel that person. You know what I'm saying? We do it subconsciously sometimes. It's like we just have to give it all to God. As cliche as that sounds, but that's such a powerful word to say. Give it all to God.
Right.
And the key word in that is all. Because sometimes we hold on to things because we just feel like the person doesn't deserve forgiveness.
Wow.
Or the person is not there yet. You know what I'm saying? You feel like that person is still the bad person that they are. They still walk around all prideful, like they're all that, like they didn't even do me wrong. How dare you act like you didn't do me wrong? Wow. Now you're canceled. When really, that's not your job. Wow. Your job is to forgive. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When you forgive, it's not on you no more.
Right.
It's on them. Mm-hmm. They got to deal with God. Right. All you know is like you've truly forgiven that person. And the cancel culture plays a big role. That's I feel like some of it, that's where it's from. You know what I'm saying? Like people just holding on to things and just don't want to let it go. But I want to say too, there's things that we also see, like social media is very big for this. Like we'll read something and we'll see a video and then we don't even know the backstory to it. And then we just go and cancel that whole thing, not knowing the whole story, but we're canceling it because Dejine canceled it, Erling canceled it, and that's my family. So you know what? I'm canceling it too. Right. Nah, it doesn't work like that.
So we're easily influenced, basically.
Yeah.
I also feel like a big reason. I feel like there's many reasons, but I feel like a major reason for us just being ready to cancel people is, like you said there's no love in that. I think there's a lack of love in this world. There's a lack of empathy. Mm-hmm. There's a lack of sympathy. I feel like if we took a second to see ourselves in the person that made the mistake, in the person that did whatever they did or got themselves into whatever they got themselves into, if we took a second to see ourselves in them, and we're humble enough, so there's a lack of pride, a lack of humility is what I meant. If we were able to take a second to see ourselves in them and be humble enough to say, yo, that could have been me. Mm-hmm. Yet thank God that it's not, but that could have been. So if we could see ourselves in the person that we dogging out, there wouldn't be any dogging out because we would be more sympathetic. We would be able to say
empathy and understanding. Mm-hmm. You have to show empathy.
I think that's what the world lacks, and I think that's why the cancel culture is so prevalent, especially now more than ever. And no one is being given a second, third, fourth, or fifth chance these days.
Nope.
And when you say that there's no love in the constant canceling, it just ultimately brings it back. When anyone mentions love, I think of God. That's the best example of love I could think of. So it brings me to the word because honestly and truly, this shows that cancel culture did not just start. Like it didn't start when we was growing up. This been around. Because if you think about the woman that was caught in adultery, they wanted to stone her on the spot. They wanted to stone. They're like, listen, we just caught Shorty. So Jesus, what we about to do? Because technically, in the law, it says that we got to
They
stone.
didn't even ask Jesus what we about to do. They was
Right.
ready to cancel her.
Right. They like, we're about to stone her.
Yeah.
And Jesus is like,
stepped in.
if you are without sin, then go ahead. I give you full permission to cast that first stone.
Yeah.
And that shows that culture.
That's a good clothing line. Culture.
The cancel culture has been around way before time.
Yeah. I think another thing that we need to also understand is that the canceling is not in our hands.
Right.
It is up to God.
We don't even have that power.
It is up to God to cancel. How can you cancel something that you didn't even create? Like,
whoa.
Because if we look at the story of the woman the adulterous woman, like, Jesus told them to pick up the stone if they're without sin.
Right.
And they were like, none of us is without sin. We can't do this.
Right.
But if you look at the bigger picture, Jesus was without sin.
He would have been the only one able to do it.
Only person that could throw them stones. And what did he choose to do instead of throwing the stones?
Go and sin no more.
He loved her.
Wow.
He loved her. He loved her over judgment. And he didn't even did this. He didn't do this to her. Everybody else was doing this to her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He kind of in a way let her know, yo, you see what you've done? You see what this creates? You see what that sin you did? You see, this is dealing with the repercussions of sin.
Yeah.
Right? Do me a favor, repent, and go and sin no more.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless you want to deal with this for the rest of your life, go ahead. You go sleep with all the men and go cheat on your husband still and go do all of that. Unless you want to deal with these dudes that want to stone you right now, go do it. But if you want to live in peace,
right.
If you want to know what love is, repent and go and sin no more. That's the key thing right there, man.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that hits me hard right now too, yeah. Because January and February was very difficult for me. I was going through so much where I even felt like giving up on God. But God never gave up on me.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? He placed these men around me that were strong men of God. And I was feeding off of them. And they helped me yo, Teddy, you got to walk straight, man. You got to get your life together.
Yeah.
But they could have did this, Teddy, you did this, Teddy, you did that. They could have did that, but they didn't do that, though. They chose to just love on me, even though I was in a real messed up shape.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I thank God for the position I'm in right now, because I'm able to see myself and say, you know what? I am filthy. I am dirty. I am the chief of sinners. I am the chief of sinners. But with God, I am a new creation. Yeah. And we have to know that, though. We have to understand. We have to believe that. Not just know it. We have to believe it, you know?
I love that so much. And you pretty much wrapped it up and brought us to a perfect ending. I just want to touch again one last time on that story of the adulterous woman, which ties into what you just said, how you have people around you to love on you and tell you, yo, you got to do better. I also want to compare that to how not only did Jesus show her compassion and forgiveness, but he told her, go and sin no more. And the reason I want to mention that is because this conversation is not at all condoning anyone to constantly just keep staying in their mess, keep messing up, and everything's supposed to be okay. Everyone's supposed to say, good job, you'll do better. Good job, you'll do better. That's not at all what this conversation is about. So while the cancel culture is not good, it is also not okay to stay stuck in that cycle of that mess up that we got ourselves into. So before we leave, I just do want to bring clarity to that, because there are a whole lot of different ways people could preach that story. You'll find a group of pastors tell you, go and sin no more. Oh, you need to love on that person. Look what Jesus did. And they'll just tell you, love, love, love. Keep messing up. Stay in your mess. It's okay. I'm going to keep, telling you it's okay. At the same time, we got to remember, he said, go and sin no more. So,
but we also have to look at the real definition of love is like, love doesn't, if I love somebody, I'm not going to let them continue to live in that filth. You know what I'm saying? That's what love is. Love is not babying you and basically helping you live a lifestyle that's ultimately going to lead you to death. That's not love. Because I remember back in the days when before I was saved, and, if I was feeling a certain way, my mans would bring a bottle to me or a blunt. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be like, oh, man, that's love right there. Thanks, bro, but that's not love.
Good looks.
Yeah, good looks, bro. Like, but that's not love. Love is me caring about your soul, not just your physical. You know what I mean? Like, love is me caring about you when I'm not there. You understand what I'm saying? And I think when we preach the word, when we say that Jesus loved her, Jesus gave her the best advice ever. Jesus said, go and sin no more.
Right.
And it's not like she wasn't going to sin anymore, but Jesus told her not to sin anymore.
Right.
If she did sin, she knew the sin was wrong, and then she repented. Like, he didn't tell her, hey, go and sin no more, you'll be all right. Like, nah, that's not what that means. I mean, that was love.
Yeah.
Because Jesus could have told her, all right, you good now? All right, they're not going to stone you, right? All right, go ahead, do you. He didn't say that. He said, now go and sin no more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And which is crazy because Jesus told her, go and sin no more. Sin was present. And he got on that cross and he died and he freed us from sin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Jesus.
I love that.
He never lets us go, man. He loves us, and I think even when you're dealing with a brother that's Muslim, even if you're dealing with someone that's struggling with homosexuality, even if you're dealing with somebody that's struggling with lying, anything, like, our ultimate goal is to love them, not to tell them what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was speaking to a friend the other day, and not to like prolong this, but I feel like the best preaching that you can do is action. That's the best preaching you can do. I can get on a podium and tell you, this is wrong, and Jesus did this, and and then leave, and then I'm still living a regular lifestyle. But if someone sees me live what I'm preaching, or not even preaching, just live a Christian lifestyle, that may change their lives.
More effective.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's deep. Yo, for years, Dejin, I was one of those that would talk about it.
Right.
I was a talker. You feel me? Even when I was in Left Teen Challenge, went to Bible college, like the lifestyle seemed good to me, but I really wasn't living it 100%. I was dipping, dabbing. I was halfway in, halfway out. You know what I'm saying? I would get mad at certain things and allow these things to happen to me, but we have to understand sorry. Somebody just texted me and it just threw me off a little bit.
Listen, I just want to tell you, throughout all these years, thank you for always having my back.
Always.
Even when I was wilding, we all had our moments, right?
Woo, you wild, girl.
Right. I was not wild.
She was a gangster out there.
No,
you feel me?
Not
you feel
like
me?
that.
She was out there
When I say wilding,
I was like, Dejin, what are you doing in Southside Jamaica, Queens, beating people up?
Not even like that. It wasn't even like
you know what it is, though? I'm so happy for you because you went through, even though you didn't grow up like me and Alan did, we were out there in the streets. And it's sad to say, it hurts my heart to say this, you still caught the bad end like we did. People judged you.
Right.
People stuff, like they were like, Dejin's this, she'll never be it. Look how she's doing. Look at this, look at that.
Right. Having a baby out of wedlock.
But if they look at you now, married, beautiful family, you just graduated college. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And then it's like it's amazing what God can do in your life. And I always tell people like, yo, listen, I still meet people now that knew me back then, and they're like amazed like at who I am. And I tell them it wasn't easy. It was a transition that took like maybe freaking 5 years.
Right.
But it happened,
It
and I'm
happened.
here now,
Mhm.
and I just don't want to ever let it go. It's better than any alcohol. It's better than any blunt.
Right.
Anything that you think that can take your mind off of your problems right now.
Right.
Key word, right now.
Just for the moment.
God is eternal.
Mm.
And if you learn to lean on him and just look at him and trust me, yo, limitless. Keyword, limitless.
Mhm.
You may see yourself worth something. God sees your self-worth way more.
Wow.
And that's what he's showing me right now. And I'm just, listen, I'm at a stage in my life where I'm just sitting back and being still and quiet.
Right.
Even if somebody says something bad about me. Amen. Because God is going to fight the battle.
Exactly.
I've seen people say something about somebody else and the person just sit back and not say nothing. And people are like, yo, you're not going to say, nah, I'm good. And then a year later, you get to see why that person didn't say nothing. Because now the other person that was talking is going through it. But guess what? The person that person was talking about is there to help them.
Mm.
And those are the actions of a real Christian. We can't be like that.
Right.
You know?
I love you.
Love you too. Stay safe. Give Erlen a big hug and kiss for me. Kiss on the cheeks, okay? And hug my baby Shiloh.
I will.
And tell Omari that he is a musical genius.
Yes, I will.
All right?
Love you. Have a good
All right.
day at work.
Love you too, sis.
Mwah. You the best.
Later.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube, which is The Uplift with Dej, and following us on Instagram at The Uplift with Dej. Have a blessed day and see you next Sunday at 6 p.m. Invite a friend.